The gospel can be found on page 1164 in the Bible. The gospel is from Matthew chapter 16, beginning with the 21st verse, page 1164. The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. From that time on, Jesus began to show his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and undergo great suffering at the hands of the elders, the chief priests, and the scribes, and be killed, and on the third day be raised. And Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him, saying, God forbid it, Lord. This must never happen to you. But he turned and said to Peter, Get behind me, Satan. You are a stumbling block to me. For you are setting your mind not on divine things, but on human things. Then Jesus told his disciples, If any want to become my followers, let them deny themselves, take up their cross, and follow me. For those who want to save their life will lose it, and those who lose their life for my sake will find it. For what will it profit them if they gain the whole world but forfeit their life? Or what will they give in return for their life? For the Son of Man is to come with his angels in the glory of his Father, and then he will repay everyone for what has been done. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. Good morning, church. Who gets to write your life story? Who are the characters in your life? Where are the pitfalls and the seductions? Where are the sorrows and the joys? Where are the tragedies and the comedies? Here's an even better question. What is God's dream for you? Not your pipe dreams, not your hopes and desires. What's God's dream for you, God's plan? Well, I read this novel called Ove, or maybe it's Avi. I've never been to Sweden. I'm not sure. Anyway, it's a great novel. Maybe you've read it. Ove is just like Jeremiah. He's the grumpiest old man you're ever going to meet. You've met grumpy people before, haven't you? I see some old people out there. You've known some curmudgeons with staunch principles, strict routines, a short fuse. Everyone thought Ove was bitter. But he just thought himself surrounded by idiots. Old people think that. They're just idiots. So one day, his life was all shaken up. This is the way the novel starts. The appearance of new neighbors coming into town. He doesn't like new neighbors, period. But they drive in and they mow down his mailbox. This is not a good way to start. And as the story unfolds, it's about unkept cats, unlikely friendships, and a group of people who have Ove all figured out. Aren't there a lot of people in your life that have you all figured out? Well, Ove knew death and loss with his mom and dad, and he knew a lot of violence and destruction from his co-workers. He worked very hard. He minded his own business. He was one of those kind of guys that always put his hands in his pockets. And he was always suspicious of people with white shirts. You know the type? They are coming to sell you something, or something like that. After his dad dies, he's only 16 years old, but his dad taught him all about what he did, so he just took his job. And one day, he's working with all the friends, and someone stole some money out of a purse. And so they're trying to figure out who stole it. Well, Ove knew who took it, but his dad not taught him principles. You don't talk about other people. Even when they came to ask him, did you take it? No. Do you know who did? Didn't say a thing. The thief who actually stole it came and said, Ove took it. Well, Ove couldn't say who really took it. That wasn't his business. So he got fired. But all his co-workers knew he was a good guy. So his boss hired him on a new job the next day on a different train heading in a different direction. And did God take him in a different direction? That was where he met the love of his life. She loved him. For 3 years, he followed her on that train every week. And they finally got married. Years later, they conceived a child. And then the child died. And over a period of life, Ove's wife died too. And the story unfolds in a small neighborhood of cats and people. And it's not unlike our story. He's so depressed, like Jeremiah. He wants to take his own life. That's where the humor comes in. He never can succeed because somebody always wants something and is ringing the doorbell. He can't even kill himself. It's the funniest book I think I've read this year. I can't wait to see the movie. So I asked you today, like Jeremiah, who's going to write your story? Where is God's dream in the ups and downs of your life? You see, Jeremiah, he knew frustration. He knew pain and anger. Jeremiah felt persecution, disillusionment, even self-pity. Jeremiah lived with rejection, depression, and discouragement. I love the story when he's thrown in a well. You got to read it to believe it. They got him out of the well. It's our story. Jeremiah always gets back up because he loved his people and he loved his God. He was duped. He was ridiculed. He was seduced. No doubt about it. He was made sport of like Ove and you and me. And Jesus is very much like Jeremiah today. He realizes the good times are over. The healing and the feeding of others, he must now surrender. He's got to let it go. He's got to go to Jerusalem, there to take up his cross, to suffer, die, and to rise again. See, that's our story too. Our story is filled with deaths and many births, illnesses and many recoveries. It's a life of ups and downs, and today Jesus would say, just get in line. Follow me. If you think life is all about you, you lose. If you think life is all about God and others, you win. It's not about human thoughts. It's about God thoughts. We are so fragile, aren't we? We are so imperfect. But we're all attached and seduced by a loving God. We just need to let go of our self-interest and our self-fulfillment. We need to not obsess over the trivial things in our life, the petty grudges, the vain indulgences, the small pipe dreams. Paul says it best. Can we be transformed in mind and body, heart and soul? Can we surrender to the story of vulnerability and humility? It is the way of Jesus.